Today, we're diving into the mind of Richard Feynman. He was a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, sure, but his real genius? It wasn't some fancy piece of equipment. It was a totally unique, powerful way of looking at the world.
And this whole thing really kicks off in, of all places, a loud university cafeteria. Picture this. Feynman is feeling completely burnt out, totally uninspired by his work. Then he sees a student just messing around, tossing a dinner plate up in the air. Now, most of us, we wouldn't even notice. But Feynman, he didn't just see a plate. He saw a puzzle. He saw the plate wobbling, of course, but his eyes locked onto something else. The little red Cornell logo on the rim. It was spinning faster than the wobble itself. Such a tiny, insignificant detail, right? But for Feynman, it was this irresistible problem. He just had to figure it out. So he runs back to his office, starts scribbling out equations, and in that moment of pure, completely useless play, he found his love for physics all over again.
And you know, that little story about the plate, it's the perfect window into how his mind worked. This intense, almost childlike curiosity wasn't just for physics. It was how he saw everything. He had this incredible knack for looking right past the surface of things to see how they really worked underneath.
Okay, here's another great example. He was working a summer job at a hotel. He didn't just see a fancy dessert on a plate. No, he saw the whole system behind it. He saw the stressed-out guy in the pantry with, as he put it, stubby thumbs, struggling to peel apart these delicate paper doilies and cursing them out. For Feynman, that was the real world, not the pretty presentation out front.
So when you see the world this way, it kind of leads to another one of his big traits. Feynman basically treated his entire life like a series of fun puzzles that were just begging to be solved. Rules, systems, even top-secret security. To him, they weren't roadblocks. They were just interesting little problems waiting for a clever solution.
Let's go to Los Alamos, during the Manhattan Project. I mean, the fate of the entire world is hanging in the balance. You've got the nation's most important secrets, the actual plans for the atomic bomb, stored right there. You'd expect security like Fort Knox, right? Well, you'd be wrong.
As Feynman himself said, the security was basically a joke. He looked at these flimsy little padlocks not as something to stop him, but as a personal invitation. He felt like it was his duty to show them just how bad their system was. And, well, what better way to do that than by breaking it himself? So, naturally, he taught himself how to pick locks. It became his new favorite hobby. He'd get the tension just right, feel for each pin, and listen for that super satisfying little click as it fell into place. He got so good at it that the safes and cabinets holding the world's biggest secrets might as well have been left wide open.
So on one hand, you have the military officials thinking your steel bars and strict rules made everything totally secure. But then you have Feynman's reality. He would pop open his colleagues' secure cabinets, take out a classified report, and then just hand it back to them later, just to watch their jaws drop. He wasn't just being a prankster. He was making a deadly serious point. Real security isn't about looking safe. It's about being able to stand up to a real test. But look, this wasn't all just about playful mischief. This skepticism ran way deeper. Feynman had this absolute refusal to accept any idea just because someone in authority said it was true. For him, you had to test everything, question everything, and understand it from the absolute ground up.
This really came to a head when he was teaching in Brazil. He was just horrified when he found out the students were amazing at memorizing physics textbooks. I mean, they could recite definitions and formulas perfectly, but the second he asked a practical question, one where they had to actually use the knowledge, they were totally lost. He found out that in their system, asking questions was a bad thing. It was seen as wasting everyone's time.
And this experience led him to coin this brilliant term, cargo cult science. The idea is, you can perfectly copy all the outward signs of science. You've got the lab coats, the fancy equipment, the jargon, but you're missing the most important part, the scientific integrity. As he famously put it, it's like building a perfect replica of an airport runway in the jungle and then wondering why no planes are landing. You have the form, but zero substance.
And he didn't just see this problem abroad, he saw it right back home. After a friend complained about his kids' confusing math homework, Feynman ended up on a state commission to review new textbooks. And being Feynman, he took the job seriously. He actually read every single book, cover to cover, just assuming everyone else on the committee was doing the same. So when they all got together to compare notes, he found something that was just unbelievable. One of the publishers had sent a book that was completely blank. Just empty covers, no pages. And yet, this blank book had received ratings and reviews from the other people on the committee. They were just filling out the forms, going through the motions,
without ever actually thinking. I mean, if that's not a perfect example of a cargo cult, I don't know what is.
So when you put it all together, the spinning plate, the picked locks, the blank textbooks, you realize these aren't just a bunch of funny stories. They all add up to this really powerful philosophy for how to think and really for how to live your life.
And the heart of it all was this one simple decision he made, to stop worrying about what was important. He just decided he was only going to work on stuff he found interesting and fun. And that freedom, the freedom to just play with ideas, is what led to his biggest breakthroughs. It meant he could follow his curiosity wherever it took him, even if it was just a wobbly plate in a cafeteria.
But don't mistake playful for not serious. This whole way of thinking is built on a foundation of absolute, ruthless intellectual honesty. It's a code that says you have to actively try to prove yourself wrong. You can't hide results that don't fit your theory. It's about finding pure joy in the process of discovery and being honest with everyone else, and most importantly, being brutally honest with yourself. And really, it all boils down to this one essential piece of wisdom. This was the guiding principle for his entire life. It's a warning against our own biases, against our amazing ability to deceive ourselves, and our tendency to believe something just because we want it to be true.
So I'll leave you with that question. Applying Feynman's first principle isn't just for Nobel Prize winners. It's a challenge for every single one of us, in our jobs, in our beliefs, in our day-to-day lives. Where are the places we might be fooling ourselves? And what incredible things might we discover if we just had the courage to find out?